Thanks for joining me again. I'm Natalie. This is the Profit Golf channel. So what is the most common phrase you hear on the driving range? Keep your head still or you looked up. Probably one of the two, and I'm sure someone said it to you at some point in your golfing life. Common mistake that we see from a lot of players is moving their head off the ball or changing centre point, changing spinal angle and posture. And typically there's a reason for this, and it's normally a lack of rotation or a lack of side bend. So I've got two exercises here to help you achieve both those movements and help you keep your head still over the golf ball. So let's have a quick look at the golf swing and exactly what we're talking about in terms of the head moving off the ball. So we're talking backswing. So if I set myself up to the ball here, normally what we're seeing is players move their head and then their rib cage and their centre point off the golf ball in the backswing, and then they have to reroute somehow, or they continue and swing flat around themselves. Not helping you because the eyes are no longer over the ball. And also then we're changing technique, club path and club face. So we don't get any consistent strikes, and you're probably going to lose a lot of distance by doing this as well. Now this could be a technique issue. Maybe you just haven't learned how to keep yourself in that central position and rotate around the spine. But for most players, we see a lack of rotation and a lack of side bend contributes to the head then swaying off the ball. So what we mean by this is if I'm going to try and keep myself in posture here and rotate around my fixed point, I have to achieve a degree of rotation through the rib cage and the spine, and also through the upper spine as well, which allows my head to look essentially in the opposite direction to my torso and keep my eyes over the ball. Typically, we see a lot of golfers are very stiff through these areas in the ribs and the spine, the upper spine and the neck, and that is why they struggle with this position. So two exercises coming up now to help you improve this. So the first movement that we need to achieve in order to remain in posture and stop swaying the head position is side bend. And that is what helps you keep the angle of your golf swing as you rotate in the backswing up until the point of which you've hit the ball. That essentially stops you from extending through the spine and lifting out of posture. So this exercise will help you achieve a little bit more side bend. So I'm going to start in 90-90 here, and I'm going to use a golf club as a guideline. The key thing to this exercise is you keep the lower body really stable. This is your anchor point in the same way that your legs on the floor would be as you rotate to hit a shot. Take the club directly above the head, so crown of the head and straight up. And all we're going to do is side bend left and right. So from here, I'm going to side bend through my ribs, down slowly, as far as I can naturally. So I get a stretch through this side, and I get the compression on this side, where it feels like the ribs are touching each other. I'm going to hold that for a second, return to the middle, and now side bend the opposite way. So now I have the stretch through my right-hand side and the compression here through my left-hand side. Again, you'll just hold for a second, return to the middle. And we're just going to rotate side bends left and right for reps. Nice and smooth, and making sure the arms stay as a connection to the torso. So common mistakes with this exercise tend to be people moving only at the arms and not taking the ribs and the torso with them, and also kicking out at the hips a little too much. So popping out at the hips here, losing the lower body in order to achieve a greater range of motion through that side bend. We're looking to keep a nice stable frame and side bend left and right slowly. So it's the ribs and the torso and the musculature through the midsection that are doing the work to help you achieve that little bit more mobility through the rib cage. You can do this exercise on both legs facing forwards. So starting with the left-hand side and then moving into the side bend position with the right foot forwards. Nice and steady. Only go as far as you can comfortably and naturally. This shouldn't be hurting your lower back. It should feel like quite a nice stretch through the side that you side bend away from. Aim for around about 5 reps on each leg, and then switch the opposite leg forwards and do 5 reps on the other side. Our second exercise now incorporates the other component of a good backswing, and that is rotation. So again, we set up in exactly the same position, and this is really similar to exercise number 1. So using the golf club again, I'm going to pop the club out in front of me here on straight arms. Same principles apply, lower body stable, avoiding the hip sway and avoiding the knees dropping in. And all we do from here is rotate through the upper body and the arms. So I'll turn my whole body over my forwards leg as far as I can naturally, holding this for a second, and then I'll rotate away from the leg, holding this for a second. So once you've got your balance and your position, you can keep that head looking forwards. So you're turning the body, so we're starting to get an element of separation where the upper body rotates, the arms have gone with you, but the head is still looking forwards. So same sort of thing that we would look for in the backswing, where the head and the eyes would remain looking at the ball, but then we have that rotation through the trunk and the rib cage to create that backswing position. The common mistakes, again, that we see with this exercise are people only using the arms and not taking the body with them. So getting this collapsing position of the arms, where there's minimal rotation through the upper body and too much movement of the arms. Secondly, we get people swaying and dipping without remaining on center point. The whole idea of these exercises is to keep the head in position and avoid that lateral sway. So we want that nice stable base, rotating through the upper body, smooth, keeping the lower body solid and stable to the ground. This gives you that maximum turn and creates that separation of the upper and lower. Aim to practice these exercises 2 to 3 times per week. You can use them as a warm-up before you practice and before you play. This will help you avoid that head sway in the golf swing. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time with loads more golf fitness content.